Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bal, and today I'm gonna be talking about the devil all the time. I wanted to start explaining how this video is gonna work, or just like general dynamic of the video, which is gonna be the same as my Kissing Booth 2 review, which is gonna be somewhere over here. I'm gonna talk first production, like direction and acting. Things are basically spoiler free. And on the second part, we're gonna talk about characters and plot and just the plot twists, the heavy stuff, but I'll just basically warn you when I'm gonna start talking about spoilers. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, for those of you who don't know what the movie's about, I'm gonna read it from Wikipedia. And The Devil at the Time is a 2020 American psychological thriller that examines themes of evil, religion, and the abuse of power. Yeah, it's basically a psychological thriller based in the 50s and in a small town in Southern America, I'm pretty sure. I was very excited for this movie because of the cast. You know, we have Tom Holland, our amazing Spider-Man, and he's always been a good actor, but I think it's very exciting when actors, you know, try other genres. And then we have Robert Pattinson, which I knew he was a really good actor. I knew he was gonna nail this role because from the trailer you can kind of sense he's gonna do this counterpart kind of crazy character too. I was hyped. And we also have Sebastian Stan as a police officer. I had seen him in another movie before, besides his character in Marvel, so I also knew he could do other roles. And also Bill, I'm not even going to pronounce his last. It's actually Skarsgård, so it's not the heart. You know, he does Pennywise in It, and he has incredible capabilities to just submerge himself in a character. So I was also very excited to see him in this. So generally the cast was very exciting, and the whole theme of it, I was hyped. I wanted to talk about how I felt after watching the movie, and I was mind blown, maybe even processing the information, or just flat out shocked. It's a very mind-boggling movie. It treats a lot of themes that just leave you completely like, whoa, we really went there. The main kind of point in the movie, I think, is religion, but not in the way I think you would think, because we have characters that are crazy. You know, in the town they're pretty. The thing is, I truly don't want to offend anybody, but it's like the way they treat God and just religion is just a bit extremist, actually, you know. But we also have characters that are just evil, and they hide themselves under the title of religion. I find that pretty interesting, actually. And also, we follow the story of Tom Holland's character and Bill Skarsgård's character. Bill is his father in the movie, and Tom is the kid that we later see grow up, because we follow his life throughout the movie essentially. But we do follow a lot of other characters, but I do think he's kind of the main protagonist. You can see a lot of parallels between these characters, and I think that was a very smart thing to do and very cool thing to do. I do wish we could have seen Bill a little bit more in this movie. He was in a lot, actually, more than I expected, but after he left, I was left wishing more, because his character is very interesting and very complicated, very terrible too. So I wanted to see more, but I get why they wanted to give protagonism to Tom Holland's character. Now, actually getting into production, I think the direction in this movie was spectacular. The movie holds a very good pace and a very good, I think, division in story. Also, because this movie is based on a book, I think it holds a very good story. Yeah, a very good narration. We have a narrator, which is actually the author of the book, which I find that really cool. Regarding just photography and illumination, I think they did an incredible job. I don't think it's the best. Like, it's not incredibly remarkable as other movies, but for a movie like this, that's a thriller, I think they did a really good job showing what they wanted to show, because there were a lot of interesting takes in different scenes that were very key to the story. And the acting was completely spectacular. I consider that good acting is when you get lost in a story. Also, good a good script and storytelling. So when you get lost in the story and in these characters, and you somehow, you know, forget that it's a movie, maybe not all the time, but I think, you know, you do feel like it's the best when you get lost in the story. And I think every single actor in this movie nailed their role, and they found that pace, they found that movement, and that general chemistry. And when I say chemistry, I do not mean romantic, okay? This movie does not have romance, but there are a lot of scenes of tension, a moment, and I think the two actors or more nailed that moment, they nailed that scene. And Tom Holland did a spectacular job, which I wouldn't have expected any less, but I'm excited to see what else he has to show us. And of course, Bill Skarsgård. Also, fun fact, I'm pretty sure the director of the movie, and I think even the producer, read the book before making the movie, which I think that should actually be a requirement to the adaptation for the directors and people involved to be a fan of the book. So yeah, regarding that, I really liked it. If you haven't watched it, I 100% hope you do, because it's such a good watch. I actually would tell you to find a right time, because the movie's gonna leave you a little bit shaken up and shocked, and maybe even a little bit traumatized, you know. So I do recommend you find a good moment to watch it you know, to give you time to like process what's happening. But yeah, I do think you should watch it. It's a really good movie. You all, I was not ready for the amount of plot twists and just crazy things that were happening in the movie. Hey, so this goes out for the people who watched the movie or who, you know, don't mind the spoilers. As you all know, the movie does treat hard and difficult topics, even uncomfortable. So I will add a trigger warning on the scenes that, you know, treat difficult topics. So that title will show up the entire time I talk about it, so you guys can just skip it if you don't want to see it or listen to it. And the title will be gone when it's safe to watch. I truly was not, okay? When I started watching it, I found that it was too good to be true, because, you know, we started with Bill and him like finding his wife, and we do see this couple that's like a big crazy, you know, the guy and the girl. I'm gonna put a picture up here, and we're like, oh, but like we don't see anything that's like, oh. And then, you know, Tom is born, and the wife starts, you know, getting sick, and Bill's character just starts heading downtown, and you're like, oh wow, because he already had the war trauma, the military thing, but he was in a good place until then, until that point when she starts dying, and, you know, he just flat out sacrifices his dog. You know, he offers it to God, and he's like, oh, save her. At that point, I was just like, oh man, holding a lot of trauma. And we get to a point where he grows up and he's older now. I think when we get to the really, really bad part is when Robert Pattinson appears as the goddamn priest. Or I think they called him Reverend, but I think that's basically the same thing. I'm not that sure. Man, I knew the character was gonna be bad, but I didn't know it was gonna be this horrible, pathetic, can burn in hell character. Just, I don't even know how to say this, but the whole moment when he starts manipulating Loretta to basically have sexual relations which are not consentative, which maybe, I don't even know how to call that. It's definitely illegal, obviously, but it's like he basically, yeah, he manipulated her into having relations, saying that to be closer to God, she had to show herself as she was born naked in front of him, and that they were gonna pray. And the moment when this woman gets pregnant and she apparently goes to talk to him, and he tells her that she imagines all of this and that never really happened, and how would he know that that's his kid? But then when we see this parallel of Tom Arben's character, you know, hating the guys that were bothering her before, and her just going to this place to do something. And in that precise moment when the narrator tells us that she realized that her grandmother would understand and that everything would be fine, and the damn bucket moves out of the way or whatever the heck it was, and she actually ends up dying. And you know who finds the body? Actually, if you're watching sport, you probably know, but if not, Arvin. Okay, Tom Holland's character, the guy who has lived through trauma his entire life, and now he has to see his sister dead. It was so bad. It's like the worst thing that could have happened, and it did. And in this moment, when they, after doing the autopsy, they realized that she was pregnant, and then he starts putting the pieces together, and he's like, oh, the priest has this decision to take justice to his own hands, which obviously it's the thing that makes more sense in the moment than even afterwards, because there would have been no justice. This town followed the guy's word by command, you know, the reverend. So he goes, and that scene was so perfectly executed, because we can, you know, Robert Pattinson did an incredible job in this place, because he truly showed the cowardice of this guy. Because when Tom puts the gun at this guy, he's just like, oh, wait, no, this is illusions. She was pregnant, blah blah blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up. Just take your situation. And he actually ends up killing him, which, you know, I was really happy about. I should feel a little bit of remorse, but I don't. Okay, the guy completely deserved it. I don't care. Tom, after killing Robert Pattinson, you know, he has to go. They will probably find out it was him, so I think he just tries to leave. And the whole thing of this couple is that they will pick up people, mainly men. I don't know why they never picked up a woman. I mean, you know, good for the woman so they wouldn't be killed, but I don't know why the specific choice of gender. And they would just do this whole scheme and kill them at the end. So Tom wanted a ride. They picked him up. He did feel suspicious because they were acting suspicious, and the woman already wanted to leave, so she wasn't in her best scheme murdering mood. The woman and him encountered there. I wanted her to live, man. I know she wasn't in her best mind, but she did feel remorse. Okay, she did feel bad for what she was doing. She wanted to leave. She was messed up in the head, but I didn't want her to somehow have a good ending or something. I don't know. I didn't want her dead. But yeah, he shot. I mean, she shot him actually first, so he had to shoot. But at the end, the gun didn't have bullets on her end, so he didn't die. But he killed her. That's when the police officer, the one that we've been following, comes into town, and he's like, oh shit, they killed my sister. Who was it? And he starts looking for Tom, and that's when we have the final encounter in the movie. I actually do wish these characters were developed a little bit more, just so that final encounter maybe would have been a little bit more, not interesting, because at the same time, you know, it's the climax, you're like, what's gonna happen? But maybe a little bit more debate in my brain of who I wanted to die, because the police officer was just terrible, so I didn't really care that much about him. Sorry. But yeah, the final scene when they're in the place when he wanted to bury his dog because he felt like he could never do that, and he had to kind of finalize that part of his story. I found it very poetic in a way, like a pretty good way to end the situation. And then when, you know, the police officer finds him and they have the whole face-off thing, and you know, he kills him and he shows him the picture that he found of her, being like, I had to do it, you know, I didn't want to, but she shot me first. And I feel like that way he may have gone in peace. I like to think that, okay, because I didn't hate him either, I just didn't want him to kill Tom. Also the ending, I think it's truly spectacular, because they leave it as a, like, whatever you want to interpret, you know, the whole thing of putting him in a car with a stranger again, and him not wanting to actually go to sleep or dream with a stranger in the car, but being very tired and just going back and forth as they say, you know, he doesn't know if he's going forward or backwards, thinking about having a family, you know, going to town like his father did, so he doesn't know if he's following his father or him. And you know, they leave it in this like, you know, you can take whatever you want from this. I wish to think he chose to have family and have a baby and, you know, be a good human being, and maybe at some point he wanted to go to war. He did. He's alive, he's at peace, he has suffered enough to suffer more. I know life's not fair, but I wish he's fine, he's good in his moment. Yeah, that's what I like to think. In the end, I think this is a wonderful movie that Netflix did. I give them, I don't know, I just congratulate them. It's very worth watching and very enjoyable, and I hope you watch it. Well, yeah, I think this is it. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and turn on the notifications for YouTube to tell you sometimes if I upload a video. This is it. I hope you have a good day. Bye. P.S. If you watch the movie, I want to hear your opinion on it. I want to discuss about the movie because I don't know any other person who has watched it. So please express yourself.